gas and nuclear, just to give us maybe concrete numbers that you presented in your presentation?
Yes, thanks for that question. So I did send to the clerk our fact sheet about Ontario's electricity options, a cost comparison, and hopefully you've all received it electronically. It has the bar graphs of our various carbon-free electricity options. The lowest cost option by far is energy efficiency investments. The IESO has been able to procure energy efficiency savings at an average cost of only 1.7 cents a kilowatt hour. And in terms of solar power and wind power, we've used the estimates from Lazard, which is the largest private investment bank in the world and is the expert on the prices of electricity technologies. And according to them, utility scale solar now costs between 3.8 and 5.5 cents a kilowatt hour. And onshore wind costs between 3.4 and 7 cents a kilowatt hour. And so in contrast, at the moment, Ontario Power Generation's price of nuclear power is 9.6 cents a kilowatt hour, much higher. And the Ontario Power Generation has told the Ontario Energy Board that it needs to raise its price of nuclear power to 13.7 cents a kilowatt hour by 2027. And then, of course, Ontario Power Generation is also proposing to build a new nuclear reactor in the GTA. And according to the nuclear industry, that will cost 16.3 cents a kilowatt hour. So we have the wind and solar options that are 1/3 to 1/2 the cost of a new nuclear reactor. And so clearly, if we want to actually lower our cost, we need to now be investing in energy efficiency and renewables because they are our lowest cost sources of new electricity supply.
1 minute
Yeah,
left.
well, yeah. Thank you, Chair, and thanks for that. Thanks for outlining that for us. I think those are important numbers for us to know. And so here we have a bill that's saying, let's get rid of providing priority access to renewable energy. Let's maybe even put some roadblocks in the way. And what you're saying is that outside of retrofitting our buildings to save energy, it's the lowest cost option available to us. So you're an energy economist. Does that make any financial sense? Let's leave the environmental part of it out of the equation. Does it make any financial sense to do that?
No, absolutely not. This is not economically rational. It doesn't make sense to rebuild nuclear reactors at double the cost of new wind or solar, and it doesn't make sense to build a brand new nuclear reactor in the GTA when you can get wind and solar at way less than half the cost. It's just economically nuts.
Thank you. That's all the time that we have for this round.
And maybe I don't have all the answers to this, and I'm hoping that you can fill me in a little bit with your expertise. Is there still a need to, for example, be able to spin up a gas plant or some kind of alternative like nuclear or what have you, if we're not able to get that power to the grid? I'm just interested in hearing some of your thoughts on that.
Yes, well, that's a very good question. And you're right, wind and solar are intermittent. The wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine. So wind and solar need a backup or a storage option. And at the present, we're using a gas as that backup option for wind and solar. But we have a better option. We've got a carbon-free option that's better. And that's because Ontario is so lucky to be located right next door to the province of Quebec. Because Quebec has these huge hydroelectric reservoirs which can act like a giant battery for our intermittent wind and solar energy. So what we need to do is, by integrating our wind and solar energy with Quebec's hydroelectric reservoirs, we can convert wind and solar into a firm 24/7 source of baseload electricity. And so this is great news because with the help of Quebec's reservoirs, we can use wind and solar to phase out the gas-fired power plants And we could also use them to reduce our need to rebuild our aging nuclear reactors, given that wind and solar are now much lower cost options than rebuilding Darlington's or Bruce's aging nuclear reactors.